podcast here. I leave it for you, for me to go get some coffee.
Not too bad. How about you? All right. Testing. This is Moto. All right. Okay, so I can see we're live now. So I guess I'll go ahead and get this thing started then. Let me go ahead and check, make sure we actually are on master difficulty since we have long past that goal. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and get this set up here. All right. So let's not daddle on. Let's start in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, hello everybody. I am Nightbarrel, and this is Moto, originally released for the PlayStation at 1996, almost 20 years now. And it's developed by a company called Single Track. You may recognize that as the creator of the Twisted Metal series. They also have worked on this game alongside Twisted Metal 2 as well, and not off to a good start though. Got bumped off by the AI here, slowing me down a bit. So, going through the basics of this game, you get 4 turbos per lap, as you can see by the green circles on the lower left-hand side there. We also have a what's called a grappling system, which we can use those pink poles to make these tight turns a little bit more easier. And as indicated by the pink bar that's underneath the turbos, obviously that's how much I have. It's self-regenerating, so you don't have to run out grapple like too quickly. But other than that, Joyride is it's more of a very wide open track to get used to your bike controls. But the main premise of this track is the wave riding. And knowing how to ride these waves, it makes this track a whole lot more manageable, especially on master difficulty, where everybody is just constantly on you unless you place your turbos correctly and also get across these waves. Because most of the time, you're going to be pushing down the nose of your bike to get over these waves a lot more quickly, as you can see here. Well, and I just put my nose down a bit too much. And it spawned me in a very weird spot. Now that I should mention that I will be donating $5 for every crash and fall that happens throughout this run. So that's already $5 right there. So if someone could keep track of that while that happens, I'll try to keep track myself, but it's sure thing. And especially on Master... Yeah, that's one crash so far. So on master difficulty, there's going to be plenty of that because the AI in this game is so relentless that they don't crash or fall by themselves. You kind of have to motivate them to do so. You know what I'm saying? But not too great on this Joyride run though so far. I should be well ahead by now, but they are still on me. But nonetheless, one of the things to learn about this game is knowing how your bike controls, because constant use of the shoulder buttons, which are your sharp turns and your rolls, that is actually key into navigating these tracks more effectively. And we're definitely gonna see parts of that, especially in this next track. So other than that, it's a pretty straightforward track. This highway bit, I almost messed up on that part as well. It's just managing how to just stay on the track to not get as much air, because getting air significantly slows you down, and knowing how to keep your bike on the ground. It's key. So now we're going to go from one of the easiest tracks to one of the most difficult ones in Cliff Diver. It's actually a blue square track, but a lot of people have trouble with the switchback parts more specifically. So, and this is actually one of the few times where we're actually going to use a turbo right off at the start, because most of the AI turbo at the start anyway. So that gives us plenty of room to try and muscle our way past the pack right here. Now, upcoming here are the switchbacks, and as you can see here, the track is actually kind of uneven. So if you mess up a bit during this part, it'll throw your bike around so much that you have to do constant adjusting for that part. But once you know how to like sharp turn and grapple effectively, should be no problem. And this is actually the first time that we will see a technique that's actually pretty crucial to this run. It's called hill grabbing, or zigzagging, as I alternate between the terms a lot, actually. And what that is that I use the side of my bike to actually stick to the track, because for some reason the side of the bike, for some reason, it likes to hold onto any surface. I don't know why that is the case, but it actually helps out a lot in saving time throughout most of these tracks in this run. Just that little shortcut right there. We're gonna explain that shortcut next go around here. But for this cliff dive right here, I'm gonna take it wide, use a turbo, and try and get to the inside as much as possible. And then just stick to the inside and keep our turbo speed, because using a turbo, I use a turbo mostly to either maintain a top speed during a straightaway, or to gain lost speed that I've lost during like a jump or a sharp turn or something like that. And knowing how to manage these turbos, these 4 turbos, it's crucial. And that shortcut right there, during the last grapple turn, there was like a little spot where I can not get as much air and still maintain a good speed during that, so that I just like shoot straight down and then into the next checkpoint turn. All this is going so fast that I'm trying to catch up on explaining things here. But I'm just going to go straight to this next track here, Hammerhead. This is a suicide course, and what a suicide course is you race from point A to point B, and then 180 back and race to point A, and then on to point C, and then back to point A. The AI, the other riders, are constantly in your face. That's what makes this particular course design so interesting. And you're basically never safe from the rest of the players. But Hammerhead is actually the easiest suicide course, because all of the AI tend to use the highway route instead of the lower waterway route. So we basically almost never see them, but on master difficulty, they speed up enough to where they can. There's a possibility that they might run into you. And of course, these waves right here. Of course, we want to push down on the bike to get over them fairly quickly. And on master difficulty, compared to amateur difficulty, which is what I usually run during my full season runs, is that during the suicide courses, the AI appear in particular moments to, as you race across the track. 124, that's actually really good. I'm actually quite proud of that. But yeah, you always know where the AI is going to be at particular points in the race. So in master difficulty, they're a lot more spread out, and it seems more random, but it's still the same concept. You have to know where they are at a particular time. So I'm gonna move on to Cypress Run. Hopefully I won't crash in this part right here, because Cypress Run is actually the most difficult, well, actually one of the most difficult tracks to get past everybody. And this track is entirely momentum based, meaning that if you have like no crashes, obviously you're gonna have an easy time with this. But if you crash like once or twice, then you're gonna have to try and muscle your way past the AI in this obstacle congested track. And it is incredibly difficult to do so, especially during this upcoming part, which is the serpentine cut right here. This is where things get hectic if you're with the other AI here, because they are all over the place in this part. And you will more than less crash once or twice at this part alone if you're lagging behind here. And again, I said that the AI don't crash on their own, so once you crash once or twice, you're pretty much in last place, and you're gonna have to fight your way back up to there. But other than that, Cypress Run is actually one of my favorite tracks to do on a regular full season run, because these turbos can last so long with the speed that they give. As you can see, I'm maintaining, well, used to maintain, well, I was not paying attention right there. You can maintain a 120 speed right there. Where in the world did it spawn me? Throughout a good chunk of the track, and using these turbos for so long, it's pretty good. All right, for the serpentine cut, if I could just brake enough. I did not brake enough for some reason. I sharp turned ahead of the turn, and I didn't. Oh, man, I'm doing terrible right now. I sharp turn ahead of the turn. I usually have a really good buffer for that. It's usually like 1.5 signs before I make the turn, before I brake, and make the turn a lot more easier than using the grapples. Because in this track, I don't use the grapples like at all, especially with the handling that this bike has. So doing those turns becomes a lot more manageable than just braking and just sharp turning, other than using the grapples. Because there's a good chance that if you sharp turn and use the grapple, you will more than likely lose control if you hit a wall or something like that. If you get disrupted in any way, that is. But other than that, this track seems pretty daunting, but obviously if you know the routes, you know which line to take, then it becomes a lot more easier. You just pretty much know what to do here, especially right here. This used to mess me up so much, but there is a bit of room to be had right there. And just 2 crashes from those shouldn't have happened like at all. But hey, more money. That is fine by me. Okay, so Blackwater Falls is actually, it's not that bad. It's just trying to get past all this AI at the beginning right here. It can be a bit tricky. It's even more tricky in amateur difficulty because nobody uses their turbos, and you have 19 other riders clogging up this very narrow dirt track. But it becomes more manageable in master difficulty because everybody else is just turboing ahead of you. So you have a bit more breathing room, but it's still quite the challenge to try and muscle your way past everybody. Obvious shortcut right here. That's like the only true shortcut that the devs made in this game. Alright, so we're gonna use our first 2 turbos right here. Hopefully he gets in the way. Brake right there to get underneath the checkpoint, not run into the tree. And trying to get past this guy right here. Alright, not the best lap 1, but still managed to pull out ahead. And of course, all the AI use all of their turbos on master difficulty, so they usually use their first turbo at the start there. So it may seem scary, but as long as you know what you're doing, master difficulty becomes it's not as bad as it looks. So I guess I should explain my bike choice. Some of you may have heard this game and wondered why I'm not using like Technician or the Max, which on paper seems like the better bikes. They have better acceleration, more handling, and lower lift, which is pretty good because you don't want much lift because you want the bike on the ground at all times. But with Wild Ride, with actually in particular my style of racing in this game, the main point being that Wild Ride and Gutter, since they have basically the same bikes, they don't lose speed when you turn normally as much as you do with Technician and the Max. Because with me at least, if you normal turn too much, then with Technician or the Max, you actually lose a significant amount of speed. Like you go down to like 80 in like no time. But for the Max or Gunner, you basically like maintain a good amount of speed. You may lose a bit, but overall, it's not as much as Technician or the Max. And that was a pretty decent Black Waterfalls, despite the slow lap one. It was pretty good overall. So next up is actually the hardest suicide track in the game. Even though it is a green circle track, it is a small track with 19 other riders on master difficulty. So I'm gonna focus a bit on this one because you see that guy just like going in sideways in front of you, just trying to block you. It's really, really insane what they try to do to knock you off your bike. Okay, I'm gonna have to adjust here. All right. Try not to hit the ramps because usually during this dirt trail part, you're gonna want to go to the sides right here because the big hills are what slow you down. The little hills, you can go over them easily without losing like any speed. So made it through the first lap with no problem. Well, a little problem, just a slight delay, but no crashes so far, which is good because this track can be quite brutal on you and can throw you around in so many ways, but so far so good. But that was just bad on my part. It's like you think you have enough time to avoid all these obstacles, but you try to turn, but the bike just won't move for some reason. But 134, that's not too bad on this track, considering no crashes. But that is it with the swamp stages. Now we're gonna head on over to the alpine stages, and with the alpine stages, you're gonna see a good amount of zigzagging on this track due to the numerous amount of hills that, in particular, Willpower and Snowblind offers. So as we try and go past the AI here, we're gonna go enter the Don't Touch Me stage. Hopefully I won't show you why I call it that. Oh, there we go. Yeah, as soon as they touch you, they pretty much lift you off the track, and then they just throw you way out there. And if you fall off the track, you get sent back to the last checkpoint that you entered. So that's a good amount of seconds lost just from falling off the track, because the checkpoints, while they are numerous, they're kind of spread out for a good bit. So it's best not to do that at all, obviously. Oh man, that guy just got wrecked right there. But other than that, this part is pretty much easy to get past everyone because they slow down a bit. They actually give you some room to pass you, for you to pass them. Especially with the switchbacks right here. They seem to take their sweet time on this part, and I passed them like much easier than any other part in this track. And we want to be careful on that part because if you manage to scrape your elbow on that rail and you automatically fall. And you know, hitting like invisible walls over certain railings, you can't really expect that until it actually happens, and you're just left wondering, well, what happened there? I wasn't really going all that fast during that part, but no, pretty much any part of the actual body of the rider hitting walls. What am I doing? Any part of the body hitting the walls, it's just they are very feeble and it'll just fall down for seemingly no reason. Let's see here. I guess I should explain the zigzagging part. So, what zigzagging is, again, I say that I use the side of my bike to stick to the track, like so. But what I technically do is that I use the roll to get the bike onto its side, and then using the sharp turn, mainly the sharp turn, to keep the nose down onto the ground, so that there's still a chance that when you zigzag, you can still get a bit of air if you don't hold the bike down far enough. So that's what the sharp turn is for. Let's see here. Other than that, not much to talk about here. So this will be a good time for donations if there are any.
I don't have any donations at the moment, but I would like to take the time to remind everybody what we're doing here. This is the Cal Fire Relief Marathon, and we are raising money for the American Red Cross for their relief efforts in California with all the wildfires that have been raging there all of this year, basically, and the last 5 or so years as well. They've been having a severe drought in California, making the conditions even worse for wildfires to pop up. And the Red Cross is doing a great thing with helping those who have been displaced by the wildfires, having their homes burned down, and even in some cases, towns have been nearly erased from the map. So every dollar that's donated to this marathon is going to the Red Cross and their efforts. And thank you everybody who's donated so far for that.
Yeah, very, very good cause right there. And this run just seems to be like so many random crashes and just also just even more random spawn points that I've never seen before. It's just like, just cue the that's never happened before. Ba-dum-bum. Still a sub 430. That's actually not bad. No, it's been like a long while before we actually managed to get like a sub 430, but using the hill grabs, it's just, it cuts down that time by a lot. All right, so Ice Crusher, this is actually the second hardest track to get past, both get past the AI and to just basically not mess up in general on master difficulty. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to wait until this next checkpoint here. Hopefully I won't get bumped off, and just turbo out here. And then cut across here. And now I have like 7 or so other people to pass. And oh, try not to fall off. I usually take a bit of a cheeky shortcut right at that part, but that is going to have to wait until later on. Okay, all right. yeah, we'll use the turbo right here. Okay, since we're this far in and still behind the AI, we're going to have to try and work our way past everybody on this next part, which is not ideal, but hopefully we can do some right here. Okay, so we made it this far. Okay, but everybody is still going to catch up to me during this part because I don't use any turbos right there, and they just like ran me over so bad. But yeah, Ice Crusher, there, as you can see, there are no walls to help you out here. I'm gonna actually turbo right here. Nope. Clothesline by the checkpoint. And getting clotheslined by the checkpoint is Jet Moto tradition. As if you play this game, you will get clotheslined by a checkpoint sooner or later. It's hilarious, but it just feels bad when you're the one getting clotheslined. Okay, so still in 9th place. I mean, we can still manage to come back, but the AI, like I said, they are just so relentless. And having to manage your turbos in the way that I do, it hurts seeing everybody get past you. And you can't really do anything about that because you can only go so fast. But in this track in particular, you might want to keep your nose down throughout some of the bit. Oh my goodness, it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. But obviously, if you put your nose down too much, then your nose will just hit one of the crevices in the iceberg, and there's a good chance that you're gonna fall. And do a little ledge grab right there, and take a chance again here. There we go. Much better. Much better without the AI getting in your way. But they still managed to get in my way. I try and pass them right here. I was about to say that Ice Crusher's music is actually my favorite in the game. But it's so... What's the word I'm looking for here? Yeah, I can't think of the word right now. I'm too busy concentrating on this game. And plus I hear that the music has already ended, but nonetheless, master difficulty on this track, it gets pretty daunting, and getting past this with like 1 or 2 crashes, I don't remember. That's actually not bad. It could have been a lot worse. Could have not gotten first place on that. But we're pretty much guaranteed first place at this point. I've gotten enough points to get first place overall. But who's us that we can't get first in the next 2 tracks? So Snowblind is the last suicide track in this game. A lot more manageable than Suicide Track because it's a lot more wide open. And plus we get to do... What are you doing? We get to do a lot more zigzagging on this track. Alright, come on. Especially right here. And then we want to let go of the accelerator just enough so that we can barely manage to sneak underneath the ceiling of the tunnel there. Same for this part right here. It's not the way that I wanted to go, but, you know, it'll have to do. And another hill grab right here. Okay, so there's usually the 6 that are in front of me, and then the rest are just trailing behind. The rest of the pack is like behind, and like a huge gap in between them. But on amateur difficulty, everybody is together all the time, so it's oh man, I managed to crash that gal right there. The AI is just like they all herd up together, just like a herd of AI just traveling from one place to another. But that part right there, we managed to get separated from the rest of the pack. I don't know exactly what happens with the AI during that part. before the starting line, but for some reason I managed to get like a good gap between me and second place. But in the meantime, I'm gonna take the suicide turn the normal way. I go from right to left, but the AI loves to go from left to right, so that first lap is a bit awkward in trying to adjust myself after the suicide turn, because I usually hill grab in a certain direction afterwards to set up the next jump. But hey, it is what it is. There's a turbo right here to try and get to the top of this hill more quickly, and then that'll set us up for this jump right here after that zigzag. And then quick suicide turn here. So I try and make my way past here. All these AI are gonna try and push me back, because getting actually pushed back instead of actually crashing is a lot more worse, because not only do you have more ground to cover, but also you just basically come to a complete stop and you have to accelerate back up again, which takes a bit, especially with other bikes. This bike is not so bad, but with other bikes that have like little acceleration, it just feels like it's taking forever to get back up to speed without using a turbo at all. Alright, nice tunnel dive right there. Try not to run into anybody. If you take the inside far enough, which I didn't do right there, you should be able to get past everybody no problem, but for some reason the bike just loves to sneak a bit outside for a bit. Okay, last part here. We're gonna try and make our way past the AI just one last time. It's clear for the most part, which is good. It's no problem. Just barely over for 4 minutes, which is not bad. Okay, so we're on to our last track of the game, Nightmare. On master difficulty, this is exactly what it is. It's a nightmare. And trying to get past everybody on this track is quite the task to do. So, I almost messed that up. But now, get behind here. This run is just so weird. It's doing stuff that I've never seen before. Maybe it's because I'm trying to constantly talk while doing this. There's a little swag zag for you. Just getting onto the side of the bike, down the hill, all the way. It's actually pretty cool looking, and you gain like so much speed from that. That's one of two zigzags that actually impact the run a lot in this track in particular, I should say. The other one being right here. It's like you're going uphill, but when you're zigzagging, you actually gain a bit of speed before you shoot across the gap right there. Then with all these extreme twists and turns, it really puts your control of your bike to a good test. See how well you can maintain control of your bike. For this part right here, you have to enter this jump here at a particular angle. Otherwise, you're either going to be hitting the left side wall, or you're just going to fall off the track entirely. But other than that, those platforms, I'll come back to that later. But I swag too much. I normally don't use the grapples that are placed right in between these gaps, but if you do happen to crash like right near right near the jump of the gap. I may have to use it if necessary. Yeah, excuse me. So for this part right here, again, you have to manage your sharp turns and your rolls to keep your bike as perpendicular to the track as possible. And for this part right here, still haven't managed to figure out that part. That seems like the best solution that I have so far, is to try and get past that part as effectively. I might hit the checkpoint right here. That's fine. I hit it at such an awkward angle too. That's weird. Well, at least I got this jump down. Because if I go like a little bit to the left, then I'm just gonna hit the platform, but I'm not gonna have enough speed to make it over the next platform, so I just fall off. And if you go far to the right, then you're just gonna not even hit the platforms at all. But other than that, this is just basically the beginning of the track designs that Single Track has for the Jet Moto series. It gets a lot more insane in Jet Moto 2 in terms of what these bikes can actually do, and how you can make these bikes do different things, because bike control is of the utmost importance in Jet Moto 2. But time is coming up very shortly right here. And time. So, yeah, that is Jet Moto. I don't know how many crashes that was overall.
Is it 35, 33, and you had 8 crashes.
8 crashes. All right, so that's $40 right there.
Nice.
So, not
Thank
too
you for
bad.
crashing for us.
Hey, no problem. Hey, thank you for donating for Master Difficulty. So that is a possibility. So, before I go here, there's a little something that you get after you beat Master Difficulty. First is the Jet Moto Champion screen, as you see right here. It's just basically a blown-up version of the picture that you see on the character select screen. And then also, there are 2 cheat codes for each team, and this is the first code that you see right here. And once you get all 8 of the cheat codes, then you play Master Difficulty again. You'll get the final cheat code, which is 2-player AI racing. So what that is that during 2-player mode, it's just you 2 on the track and nobody else. But with AI racing, all 20 racers are there on the track, and it gets super laggy during that part because it has to manage both you and your opponent and all the other AI, and the physics get like really wonky during that part. But anyway, that is it. That is it for me. Thank you very much for having me on here. And if any of you are interested in Jet Moto or in any of the games in the Jet Moto series, we do have our Jet Moto Central forums. Just Google that and it'll take you straight up to there. We will be more than happy to help you out and help you out with this game. So
just jetmotocentral.com?
No. There is a jetmotocentral.com, but I just never managed that website. It's a pro boards forum. Again, just Google Jet Moto Central and it'll take you to that. I always forget the specific URL for that. I think it's jetmotocentral.proboards.com. So check that out if you're interested. Thanks again, everybody, for stopping on by, watching this, helping out with the marathon, and have a great Sunday, everybody.
All right, thanks for the run.
Hello. It's going good, man. How are you?
Yo.
Doing all right.
I should be ready whenever you guys are.
Yeah.